Back in 2015, when the visual dictionary for The Force Awakens was released, it told us that Han used his gold dice to win the Millennium Falcon in a variant game of sabacc called Corellian Spike. Now that Solo: A Star Wars Story has been released, we never saw that happen, so what gives? I've been getting that question a lot lately, so today I'll do my best to provide you with a satisfying answer. The most obvious answer to me is that Han did use the dice, it's just that we didn't see it on screen. Taking the time to explain the rules of sabacc would have been fun for maybe 5% of us in the audience, but most people would have found it boring and pointless. Taking the time to explain a special variant of sabacc would have been even worse. So yeah, in my head I'll just assume that Han used the dice off screen. But they were on a chain, you might be saying. How would that work? I'm going to chalk that up to some sort of special space chain technology. Maybe they could have been easily removed from the chain and then used in the game, and that works well enough for me. But if I may, I would like to take this time to address reference books and where I think they fit into Star Wars storytelling. Like many people, I was convinced that we would see those dice be used on screen in Solo because the Force Awakens visual dictionary kind of led us to believe that. But then it didn't happen, so is that some sort of betrayal to canon? No, I don't think so. I think that we should always view the guidebooks as extra fun, but ultimately unimportant details. I think that story material should always take priority, and in some cases, I think it should be allowed to overwrite something that has been set up in a guidebook. I don't think that's what happened here with Solo and the Force Awakens visual dictionary because, like I said, I think that we can just assume that the dice were used off screen, but I just think that the guidebooks are for the minority of Star Wars fans that really love to dive in and analyze that stuff. And make no mistake, we are the minority of the people that go to see a Star Wars movie. Not everyone goes and watches Star Wars and then goes home and pores through the visual dictionaries like I do and like I think many of you do. When the Force Awakens visual dictionary was written, I think Pablo Hidalgo wanted to reference the dice because there was a scene where Han hangs them back up in the Falcon and that scene was deleted. I think that's all there was to it. I don't know if he knew that they would appear in The Last Jedi or continue to prominently appear in Solo. I think he wrote some neat little backstory for a tiny little thing that was seen way back in A New Hope, and that was it. So now fast forward a couple years to Solo. Should that film be required to keep that tiny little detail in the movie at all costs? No, I don't think so, because I expect that a lot of those facts are written thinking that they will never ever come up again. What I'm trying to say is that when it comes to inconsistencies in canon, I kind of give reference books a pass. They are a different medium than a movie, a TV show, a book, a comic, any story material. I think that that's where I draw the line, basically, is that if something is set up and stated in an actual Star Wars story, then I think Lucasfilm needs to work their hardest to make sure that those details are consistent. But the reference books are for us, like really, really hardcore nerds. And most people, even the ones that probably read the comics, they might not read all the reference books. I think most people that experience Star Wars stories don't know all those tiny little details, and they would never know if they were inconsistent at all. So I think that it would just be impossible if Lucasfilm decided that they had to keep every detail in every single reference book consistent across all of the entirety of Star Wars. So the point of this video is to, again, state that I think there is plenty of room for Han to have used the dice off screen, and we just didn't see it, which is fine. But I also want to say that if it were explicitly shown to not be the case, I think we would just have to accept that and move on, because not everything in every reference book is going to be perfect. But that's just how I choose to view things in Star Wars, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter, so let me know in the comments. Do you think he used the dice? Do you think he didn't? Does it matter? Do you care about reference books in that way? Just let me know. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out my Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.